This week, we're going to be giving a general overview or a summary of the Sikha of the Rebbe of Shabbos Malchus Ki Setze of the year Tafshin Nun Aleph. In this particular Sikha, the Rebbe speaks and compares the Parshias of Ki Setze and Ki Savoy, both of which are read on the same Shabbos. We read Parshas Ki Setze in the morning, and then by Mincha we read Parshas Ki Savoy. And the Rebbe looks at some differences between Parshas Ki Setze and Ki Savoy. First of all, the simple meaning of the words. Ki Setze means you go out. Ki Savoy is an expression of coming in. Second of all, says the Rebbe, Ki Setze la Melchama Aloi Vecha is of course speaking about a situation where going out to war, going out to fight the enemies. Ki Savoy, on the other hand, is speaking about coming and settling in Eretz Yisrael, each person comfortably in his own space, each tachas gafnei, each tachas teinose, each person under his grapevine and under his fig tree, bringing bikurim with simcha and so on. Everyone is all settled. Quite an opposite sort of situation than ki setze la melchama, going out to war. Furthermore, says the Rebbe in Avodas Hashem, what does each of these represent? Ki setze la melchama aloi vecha. Chassidus explains this refers to the way the neshama comes down into this physical world, into a gashmi is the keguf, especially in the time of golus, where there's concealments, there's struggles, there's battles, there's a war that needs to be going on. On the other hand, what's the idea of Ki Savoy? Ki Savoy represents a yid living a tranquil, peaceful, serene life, the time of the Beis Hamikdash. That's what Ki Savoy is all about. Once again, seemingly two opposites. Especially, says the Rebbe, when we read Ki Savoy nowadays, when we're holding so close to the Gula, what we mainly mean by Ki Savoy is coming into Eretz Yisrael, settling in Eretz Yisrael, Be'Ge'ulo ha'amitis va'ashleima idei Mashiach tzidkeinu, when Mashiach comes. So if that's the case, not only are they speaking about two different kinds of avodas, one is with a struggle and a battle, and the other one being so calm and peaceful, but they're actually two ends of the spectrum in the sense that one of them is speaking about the work itself, the avodah itself. Ki Setze is about the avodah, dealing with our guf, our nefesh habahamis, our portion in the world. Ki Savoy is dealing with the schar, coming to the Geula, having the reward of la'asid lavoy, and so on and so forth. How do we understand Ki Setze and Ki Savoy following one after the other, both being read on the same Shabbos? Says the Rebbe, the point of the explanation is going to be that it's about, even when we're going out to war Ki Setze, even when we're dealing with the world, it needs to be with a Ki Savoy attitude. We're doing it in a way, in a peaceful way, in a calm way, in a tranquil way, in a way where we could already see, so to speak, the reward, the peacefulness of liyasid lavoy. And that really, even while we're doing the avodah, in some sense, we are already connecting and have some bit of that schar of liyasid lavoy. In order to understand this, the Rebbe quotes Rashi on the words Ki Setze la Melchama, going out to war. Rashi tells us, B'milchemes harashus hakasav medaber. The Torah is speaking over here about an optional war, not a war that we're obligated to fight. The Rebbe immediately has an amazing question. According to Chassidus, that Ki Setze la Melchama is referring to our war with our guf, our nefesh habahamis, elevating the world. Is this optional? Is this a choice? What does it mean, Milchemes harashus hakasav medaber? Question number one. Question number two, related to this, about this whole idea of whether our avodah is optional or not. We know that we get a reward, as said before, there's a reward for our avodah. If we're absolutely obligated to do the avodah, I was created to serve Hashem. We are Kili B'nei Yisrael Avodim, we are the servants of Hashem. Why the reward? We need to do what we need to do. Why is there a need for reward? And the Rebbe explains this in a beautiful way. The Rebbe says, when we say Ki Setze, that the neshama is coming down from up high to come into this world, la melchama aloi vecha, to deal with all of the things of this world, says the Rebbe, what does Ki Setze actually mean? We're not only speaking about the way the neshama is in one of the higher spiritual worlds, in Atzilus and the like, Ki Setze, we're referring to the highest level of the neshama, the way it is within Hashem, even before the first tzimtzum, before the highest levels. Chazal tell us, B'mi nimlach, with who did Hashem consult about creating the world? B'nishmoiseyim shal Yisrael, with the neshamis of the Yidden. B'nishmoiseyim shal tzadikim. In other words, the whole idea of having a world, in a certain sense, was really up to the Yid, up to the neshamis of Yidden. The Eibishter consulted with the Yidden, should there be a world? If that's the case, we can now understand what it means b'mulchemes harashus hakasav medaber. The whole idea of having a war, of having a struggle, of coming into a guf, coming into a nefesh habahamis, dealing with a world, all of this is really, so to speak, a reshus, in the sense this was all optional. The Yid chose that this is the system, the way it should be, that there should be a world, and all of the struggles in the world, and the avodah in the world, and so on and so forth. Yes, it's true that once the neshama came down here, of course it's obligated to do the work. Ani nivreisi l'shamash askoini, I was created to do the work. But if we go to the deepest level of the neshama, the level that we say is part of the essence of Hashem Himself, where through Hashem is consulting about creating the world, the whole world with all of the avodah in it is all optional. And now we can also understand why the schar for avodah, we can understand why the reward, coming from this aspect, from this perspective, that the neshama is really beyond the avodah and the world and so on and so forth. Of course, when he gets involved in the avodah, definitely he deserves the reward for it. Says the Rebbe, in order to understand a little bit more about this whole concept of the reward that we get for the avodah and what it's all about, the Rebbe goes in to explain a little bit more this idea of the neshama coming down from up on high to come down into this world. Ki Setze la Milchama, coming into this world. We all know that the reason the Eibishter created this world is Nis'ava Kodesh Baruch Hu, the Eibishter had a desire to have a dira betachtoinim, to have a dwelling place down here. Who is the one that accomplishes it? Of course, the neshama. In order for the neshama to be able to accomplish the dira betachtoinim, there are two things needed. On the one hand, we want that it should be a dwelling place, betachtoinim, in the lowest place, and that it should come from the tachtoinim. Meaning to say the world itself, people in the world itself, should appreciate godliness, should make a place for Hashem. On the other hand, there needs to be a dira for the highest and deepest level of Hashem Himself. And therefore, the neshama itself contains these two things. On the one hand, the neshama came down to a very lowly place. Right now, it is in a guf. It is in a nefesh habahamis. It is found in this lowly place. But at the same time, within the neshama, it always needs to be recognized that really, where is the neshama coming from? Ki Setze, where it's coming from, is the highest level within the essence of Hashem, and that's why it could make a dwelling place for the essence of Hashem down here in this world. In accordance to the avodah that's done, that's the reward that comes afterwards. The Alter Rebbe explains this in Tanya based on a Mishnah. Schar mitzvah mitzvah. What does that mean, schar mitzvah mitzvah? The reward for the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. That means the reward for the mitzvah, what's going to be la'asid lavi, is that we're going to be having Gilui Elikus, the revelation of godliness down here in this world in the most revealed way. How is that achieved? It's achieved already now when we're doing the mitzvah. Yes, it's going to be revealed when Mashiach comes, but the actual thing that's happening is right now. So in other words, it's not two separate things. We do one job and then we get reward something else. What's happening is right now through our avodah, because we are connected and we come from the very essence of Hashem. Within our avodah, that can be felt already, that we have the power from the essence of Hashem. We are bringing Hashem down here. Of course, when Mashiach comes, that is all going to be revealed. And therefore, when a Yid is doing his avodah, and he is aware of this, that be'etzem, that in essence he is always one with Hashem. And in essence, of course, the world is a place where godliness is all the time. It's just a matter that needs to be revealed. If that's the case, when he has that sort of attitude, his whole work is easier, his whole job is a much more geschmacka job. That means in the war itself, in the battle itself, in the struggle itself, he already feels the tachlis. He already feels where he's coming from, first of all, and where he's going to. He recognizes that he's always connected with the essence of Hashem, and that he's bringing about the revelation of the essence of Hashem, and that this job that he's doing right now in the world, in the Gashmiistic world, is about revealing the essence of Hashem in this world. Says the Rebbe, now we can understand beautifully the flow of Ki Setze and Ki Setze. Ki Setze is referring to our avodah generally in this world, and especially in the time of Golus. But how is it being done? It's being done in a Ki Setze type of way, in a Geula type of way. In other words, as we're doing the work, we feel already the Geula, we feel already the Ki Setze. We're doing it in a peaceful, in a tranquil, in a calm way. Because within the Yid is always felt how the Yid is really coming from a level that's higher than creation, and how he is preparing and heading to the situation and the state of Geula, and therefore, even as he is doing his work, or as he is involved in the Mulchama, it's in a Ki Setze type of way, in a calm and peaceful way. What does the pasuk say further? Ki Setze la Mulchama aloi vecha. If he does it in this way, that he feels the essence of Hashem in all of his avodah, then immediately he's aloi vecha. Of course he's right away over and on top and above his enemy, because he is coming with those koiches from the very, very greatest and deepest part of Elikus. And even more importantly, not only is he doing it with a calm state of mind, recognizing where he's coming from and where he's headed to, but also that the Eibishter gives every single Yid everything that he needs, begashmius or beruchnius, and therefore he could also do it in a peaceful and tranquil way, in the most physical and simple sense of the word, that because he has whatever he needs, and of course the Eibishter gives a Yid whatever he needs so that he should be able to do his avodah properly, and also as a schar, as a reward, similar to what's going to be Lasid Lavoi, as the Rambam tells us that when Mashiach is going to come, the delicacies will be as plentiful as the dust, and so on and so forth, all in order to enable us to do our avodah, and as a reward for our avodah. The Rebbe then goes on in the Sikha, explaining the connection of all of this to Chodesh Elul. It's a Chodesh HaCheshbon, a Chodesh for accounting for the whole previous year, and a preparation, of course, for the coming year. And the Rebbe says here again, it's similar to these two ideas. On the one hand, is the Shleimus of Avodah, the Avodah being done in the perfect way. There's Kabbalah Schar. In other words, we finished an Avodah and getting the reward for the previous year. And of course, right away preparing for the Avodah of the coming year. Once again, putting these two things together, like Ki Setze and Ki Setze, which is emphasizing both the avodah itself, but along with the reward, feeling the reward within our avodah. Chodesh Cheshbon, Chodesh Elul is that time where again these two things come together. On the one hand, a culmination of the previous year, and at the same time preparing right away with avodah for the coming year. The Rebbe says, of course, this is all even more emphasized this particular year when the Rebbe is saying the Sikha in the year of Tafshin Nun Aleph, a year as the Yalkut Shimoini says, this is based on the Simonim of the Yalkut Shimoini, that this is the year that Mashiach is revealed in it. The Mashiach is going to stand on the rooftop of the Beis HaMikdash and say, Anovim Igi Azman Geulaschem, humble ones, the time of your redemption has arrived. Says the Rebbe, since we're holding Mamish at the last month of this year, we cannot delay anymore. We cannot wait anymore, and surely this has to be fulfilled immediately. And simply, that already in Chodesh Elul of Tafshin and Aleph, this is the siyum, this is the end of all of Ma'aseinu V'Avidaseinu, of our work and effort in the time of Golus, and therefore, of course, immediately we'll get the reward of Yemoisa Mashiach and Tchias HaMesim. Within Chodesh Elul itself, the Rebbe goes on to discuss a few of the special days in the time of, within Elul itself. The Rebbe speaks about the significance of a number of days. Amongst them, the Rebbe mentions Yud Aleph and Yud Gimel Elul, the days of the Chasanas of the Rebbe Rashab, Yud Aleph Elul, and the Frierdiker Rebbe Yud Gimel Elul, as well as Tezvav Elul, which is the day of the Isyasas, the founding of Toimchei Tmimim. And the Rebbe explains, first of all, the idea of a marriage generally, any person's marriage, any Yid's marriage, especially the marriage of the Nesi'ei Hadoir, and especially in a case which, as in the case of the Chasan of the Frierdiker Rebbe, this led straight into the founding also of Toimchei Tmimim within the Sheva Brachos. Says the Rebbe, first of all, a chasana general is reminding us and is hinting to the big chasana that's going to be between the Eibishter and Knesset Yisrael when Mashiach comes, and again even more so emphasized with the Esiyastos of Toim Chetmimim, which we all know that the idea of Toim Chetmimim was about learning Chasidus in a way similar to the way a piece of Nigla is learned. That our minds become completely united with what we're learning, absorbed with what we're learning, similar to the way things are going to be when Mashiach comes, when the whole world will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, especially that the Tmimim are called Chayolei Beis David, because they are the soldiers that bring about the Gilui of Mashiach ben David. And the Rebbe says this whole Tkufa of the fight that had to bring to bring about to fight the Asher Cheir for Yivecha Hashem, those that fight Mashiach and fight Hashem and so on. The Rebbe says surely we're at the end of this Tkufa already, after 40 years since Yud Shvat, since the Stalkus of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The Rebbe says especially when we're holding by the Shnas HaTzadik, was the Rebbe's 90th year, when we say the capital Tilim V'Yinoyam Hashem Elokeinu Aleinu Masi Yadeinu Koinenu Aleinu Masi Yadeinu Koineneu, which is this is the bracha that Moshe Rabbeinu gave, that the Shechina should dwell b'Maaseh Yedechem, referring to the Beis Hamikdash, which is of course the reward for all of Maaseinu V'Avodaseinu Kozman Meshach HaGolus. So we're definitely holding at this point already mamish by the Geula. The Rebbe concludes the Sikha with some practical Oyrois, Hamaisu Iker, and the Rebbe makes three main points. First of all, the Rebbe says we must publicize in every single place that we're holding at the very, very end of the time of Maaseinu V'Avodaseinu, the end of the Ki Setze. We're holding at the end of the time of our Avodah, and we're holding at the beginning of Ki Savoy, the time of the beginning of receiving the reward, which is of course the Geula. And in accordance to that, our Avodah needs to be in a way that's like Yemois HaMashiach and connected to Yemois HaMashiach, learning about matters Mashiach and Geula, and doing it again, as said in the Sikh, in a way of Menucha V'Yashvus, in a way of being peaceful and tranquil, Simcha V'Tuv Levav. This includes, of course, making fabrengens of Simcha, especially with Chasanas. And the Rebbe says also about strengthening the minhag of having a special Su'udah for poor people in connection to the Chasana. And this, the Rebbe says, is all similar to the way it's going to be La'asid Lavoi. When we say, Az Yimolei Schayk Pinu, then our mouths will be filled with laughter. And the Rebbe says an amazing thing over here. The word Oz is Oz, then our mouths will be filled with laughter. Oz is also Gematria 8. Aleph and Zayin is 8. The Rebbe says this is hinting to the 8th generation from the Baal Shem Tov, which has the Frierdiker Rebbe, being the 8th from the Baal Shem Tov. And his name, Yitzchak, is also connected to the idea of Simcha, which means that nowadays we're already shaykh to that Simcha, not only in the future. So point number one again is this idea of living with Mashiach's times and being besimcha and to publicize this and to learn about Mashiach. Point number two about publicizing in every single place about the special mission of Toim Chetmimim. And the Rebbe says that in addition to the fact that every house needs to be a house of Torah, Tefillah, and Gemilus Chasodim, every house should be like a miniature Toim Chetmimim by adding and learning Chassidus over there, of course, in addition to Nigla. And point number three, the Rebbe says to publicize again in every place regarding helping the needy for the Yom Tov, so that everyone should be able to prepare for Yom Tov in a happy way, in a peaceful way, in a calm way. And the Rebbe says, Yehi Ratzon, that by speaking and making achlatas and all of the above, we should be zoicha that the Eibishter will give everyone whatever they need from his full and open hand. And the main thing, of course, having the Geula Amitis Vashleima, and to use the wording of the Pasuk, Yisavay Alaretz will come into the land and inherit the land and settle in the land, and immediately will fulfill the mitzvah of Bikurim, and all the way to the end where by the mitzvah of Bikurim we say to Hashem, Ashkifam Kachcha, look down from your place in heaven. Uvarech Esamcha Yisrael, bless the Yidden, and of course mainly the main bracha, the Geula Amitis Vashleima, take it from Yad Mamash. Of course, once again to encourage, not only sufficing with just a general overview of the Sikha, but people are encouraged to take the Sikha and learn the Sikha inside in the way the Rebbe himself was Magia, the full Sikha.